Good evening and welcome to my new channel. If you're more interested in just music to fall asleep to without a story, I will have the companion track composed for the story on another video on my channel. And of course, if you're looking for a good story to fall asleep to, I hope you've come to the right place. We shall see. This first story is a descriptive journey inspired by Canada, my home, and a search for solace from nature. So please find a comfortable spot, whether you're napping or laying down for the night. Make sure your alarms are set. Close your eyes and join me on this journey. The highway stretched ever north in a gradient of black and deep purple. Through the pitted windshield of an aging pickup, a man's eyes peered into the depths and watched the dawn swallow pavement. A revival of a decades-lost tradition. An evocation of a time before silver and salt adorned a stubble. The soft glow of yellowing headlights reflected scraps of sentimentality from glossy signs. Cracked veins of asphalt gently rattled the frame of his pickup, almost rhythmically at times, scars from cycles of freeze and thaw resonating with the stiff joints of a rusty undercarriage. The radio released a crackle with each pocket in the road. Short static bursts amidst the murmurs of some country song that joined the loop of fading broadcasts, white noise, and silence. As the morning sun teased its presence through icy haze on the horizon, subtle rays diffused pink and orange, an evolving composition of complex hues. Hard-packed snow flexed its albedo as the sunrise echoed from its surface. The man imagined the crisp crackling of steel-toed boots, testing the boundary where earth meets ice. Snapping shelves of glass. The delicate bubbling of the melt below. The man tapped his fingers idly on the steering wheel and recalled fragments of some childhood rhyme. April showers, he whispered sarcastically to himself as the dawn's crescendo exposed the lingering grip of winter. He wondered about the origin of that phrase and decided it probably was not conceived in this locale. Or perhaps, he considered, it was just an optimistic representation, meant to bolster the spirits of those pining for bud and bloom. The man imagined instead the pattering drops of waking spruce needles as they shook off the night's icy touch. The sky was pale now. The colors of the sunrise had reached an agreement, cold blue with cirrus wisps. The mountains illuminated to the west and displayed their sawtooth peaks to the heavens. The man considered how many iterations of this scene had played out during his bi-weekly commutes on the job. Countless landscapes through years of routine passage, insulated mugs of strong black coffee, frosted side mirrors, and patchy traction. There was still the occasional roar of a southbound logging truck and a smattering of dusty pickups destined for a camp here or there, but this time it was different. He was not here for employment. The man thought fondly of his time spent in the north. He did not necessarily yearn for the terse commands of grizzled superiors or the aches of Spartan bunks, but for the grandeur of the land. A romantic notion beckoned his return, a pulse, deep in the earth, beneath the snow. A bond he cultivated when the tired faces and weary souls of camp had hung their socks to dry, when the wilderness fell silent but for the whisper of the trees. The truck's defrosters whirred with purpose, and a warm draft brushed the arid cracks of the man's knuckles. The radio stuttered, and static swarmed the vanishing frequencies of an acoustic guitar. The morning resumed its reveal. Its light taunted the protective edges of the pickup sun visors and crept through the man's narrowing pupils. Through squinted eyes, he scanned ahead in anticipation of ending this unfortunate step of the ritual. A modest structure off the road to the right widened in his field of view. The two pumps with chipped white paint signaled welcome to an old friend. The sign out front stood in contrast. Bright blue lettering formed an unfamiliar name bursting from a clean yellow background. The man sifted through blurred memories in an effort to recall the name of this place. Brief flashes toying with the tip of his tongue. He shifted his thoughts to the kindly nature of the owners. The type of folks with soft demeanors and a weather report for each traveler passing through. Folks with two boys who would climb atop their three-tiered ladders these Saturday mornings to enthusiastically scrub away any bugs, dirt, snow, little limbs stretched over vast sheets of glass. The man needed reprieve from the harsh mid-morning sun. He pulled into the gravel lot, pump 1, and idled. The storefront glass bore remnants of an old branding shaved away by the edge of a razor. Through this window leaned a young woman at the counter, a novel face that stirred no recollection. She took an apprehensive sip from a steaming mug, and another, as if its ceramic walls protected her from the uncertainty of a stranger. In a moment of pause, he imagined the two boys seeking adventures of their own, sporting graduation caps or neon hard hats. He stepped from his vehicle, vinyl seats groaning in tandem with his stiffened joints. The nostalgic scent of diesel and gasoline harmonized with the crisp, cool air. The tingle of a cold metal pump. The rising tune of a half tank indulging its fill. The playful twinkling of a door chime. The rattling of coins. A short exchange of pleasantries. Good morning. And that was that. As he merged back onto the empty highway, the man pried a lever behind his steering wheel. Wipers skipped over pitted glass. Trace smears left in their wake. The man continued toward his vague destination, anchored to a simple notion. Take the highway north, then turn west where the forest thickens. Far beyond the chipped white fuel pumps, long past gravel driveways and padlocked gates, a thin streak of tamped dirt bled from the woods. The truck slowed and veered left under the will of its operator. The man felt no deep pulse from the earth. No transcendental sign illuminated this path as the one. The sun was flirting with its apex, and it was simply time to carry on. The truck heaved a thumping sound, twice, a palpitation as each axle navigated the threshold of pavement and dirt. The road ahead boasted no painted lines or tapered shoulders. A narrow corridor amongst spruce and pine. The man attenuated the hiss of the radio. The silence sharpened his senses. It helped him navigate the ruddy contours that scarred the route. His thoughts circled back to the rusty underbelly of a steel steed, and he proceeded with a careful respect for its creaking bolts and sweaty gaskets. He and his pickup were no stranger to tertiary roads and wilderness terrain. It was his work up north that necessitated their partnership. It was the north that funded each patched tire and replaced every dust-laden air filter. The man was intrigued by the air filter, its passive snatching of souvenirs from each journey. A collector, ultimately bagged and discarded with the other displaced fragments. He wondered what time should pass before those atoms again wisp in the mountains. Minutes united to endeavor an hour as the truck paced forward through the recapitulating stretches of potholes and quaking branches. After some time, and to his near astonishment, a deviation in the road emerged. a protrusion no more than 6 feet wide where packed dirt contested the boundaries of the trees. Light filtered through the twiggy treetops and flickered on a figure. 4 sides, rough edges, distinct amongst the backdrop of bare aspen, a beacon of gnarled lumber and shallow etchings. Beyond the sign, a gap in the woods, scarcely more than a game trail. The heavy tread of the man's boots made a gummy thwack as they kissed the thawing ground. A muted scent of pine resin and damp decay wafted in the air. The trees asserted their presence along the path as the man ventured forth. Woody extremities unfurled from mother branches and brushed at his neck. His heavy steps disturbed the forest floor, and it misted at his ankles in retaliation. The man pictured an assembly of socks draped over radiator grates. He sensed its hum from his top bunk perch. He immersed himself in the sensation for a spell. Sounds enveloping unspecified memories. The humming radiator, the droning generator of the main lodge, the oscillating snores of bearded companions, the mechanical whirring of augers and drills. He thought of the fleeting moments when he could sense something hidden beneath these interferences. The man stopped abruptly, having wandered blithely for some time. He now stood at the entrance to a clearing in the grove. The tangible sensations of his surroundings demanded his focus. A distant creek murmured, a nascent stream of rendered snowpack. The pungent earthy fragrance now hung thick in the air. Verdant mats of mossy growth enlaced twisted roots and quilted the void in the forest. A single boulder sat central in the gap, a fading monolith, waist-high, with smooth edges worn from the forces of time. An aura of intrigue oozed from the primeval stone and entranced the man. With pillowed mossy steps, he approached it. The man placed a hand on its surface and hoisted himself atop the forest throne. As he sat, the man basked in the midday light streaming through the open roof of the glade, and watched the sun inch towards the western peaks. He contemplated what else lay beyond the clearing, and if it could rival the majesty of his current repose. He imagined traversing ageless forests, jagged mountains, barren tundra, only to stumble on a clearing in the woods where a silver-haired man listened intently from his rocky pedestal. The man gazed through the mossy blanket and pierced beneath the persisting crystals of winter's rain. The sweet song of the breeze diminished to a hush among the branches. Through the stone, a sensation tickled at the root of his spine. A distant, rhythmic thrum, slowly swelling. A pulse, deep in the earth, beneath the snow. When the wilderness fell silent before the whisper of the trees.